You can feel the relief pounding from her in waves. After countless days of relentless terror, gnawing hunger, and no more dancing with the stars, this poor abandoned thing is sure she's found her forever home. Thing is, this isn't my forever home either. Maybe this haggard, frightened woman in my truck is the sign I've been waiting for. Not that I've been waiting for anything. I was away in Kansas City for a job interview as that early summer cold began sweeping the globe. Despite its pandemic nature, most had it easy, just sniffles and coughing. A few took it hard. My wife Claire was one of those. She was laid out in bed, almost too weak to walk to the bathroom when I left her. We needed that damn job, though, so I left her in the care of my teenage children and flew out 600 miles from my home only to learn my would-be boss and interviewer had called in sick that same morning. Within 48 hours, infrastructure support and basic services began shutting down as the early summer cold rebranded as the final flu and the mass die-offs began. I was locked up in a hotel in a city under martial law as the former flu sufferers clambered out of their mass graves to eat everything warm and alive. Police and National Guard failed, fell, or fled. So I drove, flew, and hacked my way across the Sunflower State to get back to my family in Colorado. Things came up. The plane ran out of fuel halfway through Kansas. The tires blew out upon landing. I nearly overdosed on painkillers thanks to the well-meaning girl nursing me to health. I got caught in the power struggle among the survivors in Natalia. A black helicopter blocked the highway on my way out of town. So it was already 10 days after the end of the world on what would have been Sunday afternoon when I pulled up to my house in North Colorado Springs. The streets were clear, but it was as hot as it was bright, which meant the dead haunted the doorways or wherever they could find shade. I saw one getting to her feet from behind a hedge as I passed, another staggering out from behind a tree. I might as well have been the ice cream truck playing a merry tune, bringing all the half-rotted kitties from their yards. I parked in the driveway outside the garage. I killed the engine and pulled out my house keys. "It's me," I said as loudly as I dared as I opened the front door. I pulled the screen door shut behind me and locked it before closing the front door. "It's me," I said again. I could feel the emptiness of the house. Not even a cat. I went into the kitchen. There was an odor coming from the door leading into the garage. I drew a deep breath and held it before throwing open the door. I should have known. This was the only place they could take the trash out. A good thing they weren't here too long. The pantry stood empty. Even the plastic trash bags were gone. On the stove was a thin, battered red spiral notebook with Dad written in bold Sharpie marker across the front. The pages in front were torn out so that only Sybil's 3-page note and some blank paper in the back were left. The date at the top of the first page was Thursday, May 15. That was my second day of more or less consciousness, still shaking off the painkillers given me after my plane crash the previous Saturday in Natalia. While I was just getting myself together in Kansas, it was already too late for Sybil and Jack. I left the kitchen to make my last tour through the rooms where we'd spent the last 7 years of our lives. The last. It was all I could do to keep from being overcome by the very sound of this word in my head. I took a book from my son's room. He had a good picture book on firearms we'd given him for Christmas, then some other books from my downstairs office. I found one of our overnight bags on the floor in the hall as if someone had dropped it in their haste to get out. I put the books inside along with some clothes from my bedroom. I spared a moment to look at the unmade bed and the yellowy outline a heavily sweating body left on the fitted sheet. Standing in the light of the picture window looking over the backyard, I read as much as I could of Sybil's note. Later, I would have it all but memorized. I'm writing this while waiting for Warren and Jay and Nicole to get here. Matt was killed trying to get to the van. Even when it looked safe, they come out of nowhere. We didn't even see Matt after a minute. There were so many of them. It's so weird. Matt was my boyfriend, but I told him not to do it, and he went anyway, and he was gone in minutes. Just like that. I'm still crying for our kitties, though, Dad. I'm sorry we couldn't feed or protect Dexter, Midnight, or Jellybean anymore. Before Matt was killed, the back window nearly got broken out because the neighbor in back saw Jellybean. He smashed down the fence trying to get at her. We were already out of food, and they wouldn't stop meowing and getting up into the windows, and we couldn't keep them in the closet downstairs. So I got the liquid Benadryl in a dropper and gave them enough to sleep. Jack and Matt did the rest. That's why the backyard's all dug up. They threw the neighbor's body behind the unbroken part of the fence with the others. Sorry the place is a mess. It's been a bad week. It started when we took Mom to the hospital again on Thursday night. She was having trouble breathing. There were so many cars lined up outside the emergency room. Some people from the hospital ran up and grabbed Mom and laid her down on the concrete with a bunch of other people outside. There weren't empty spaces so much as they laid people between other people, and the other people either made room or they didn't. Jack said, "Never mind, we'll just take her home," and 3 policemen wearing face masks pulled their guns on him. He was so lucky. Something started up on the other side, lots of shouting and stuff, and the cops turned and pointed their guns that way. Matt pulled Jack into the car, and we hauled butt. They were already shooting before we turned out of the lot, but we couldn't see what was happening. That was it for Mom. She passed away up there with all those people wondering where we were. Nobody we talked to knows what happened up there. I read over this, and I wonder why I didn't mention Mom first. So much has happened that I can't think what's worse, what I should talk about first, or even how. Hope Warren J. and Nicole get here quick. The grocery store was closed. Then someone broke the glass front, and now it's empty. We were lucky so many went for the junk food, and we got the canned stuff. We could only carry so much, though. Canned corn and peas are gross, but we don't know what we're going to eat now. I couldn't believe it when Nicole called. The cell service has been in and out since the day after you left for Kansas City. My battery is about dead, too. The power has been out since Tuesday. We have to keep the windows closed, and it's hard to breathe. According to Nicole, Warren and Jay have this thing where they distract the dead people so the other people can get away. They like that Jack can face down and end these things. What worries me is we might have to kill some living people. There's no police or anything, and you hear guns everywhere. You said get away from the people when these kinds of things happen. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Warren's uncle has that farm near Pueblo that I was telling you about. The river runs through the property, and Warren and Jay know how to hunt with the crossbow. Of course, we have to get there first. I wish we could wait longer for you. I hope you're okay and that you find this. Love, Sybil. P.S. They're here. I love you. Be safe. A big smiley face was drawn next to the "they're here," so she wasn't talking about the dead. Still, it makes me sick to think they waited as long as they did. At least they got out, I hope. As for my advice to get away from the people, that was from years ago, after we were all shaken up by that summer's blockbuster hit about an alien invasion. I told them on the way home from the theater and reiterated the lesson with every disaster movie we saw afterwards. Whether it's aliens or plague or Godzilla, get away from the population centers. Don't be like the idiots in these movies. If people are getting killed, you go to where the people aren't. Under no circumstances are you to waste valuable energy and resources on futile quests to find anyone. Get to safety, and for God's sake, stay there. So here's hoping they made it to the farm outside of Pueblo. Me, I'm 20 miles from what used to be home. That place I'd feared we'd either be forced out of by foreclosure or merely trapped forever. From where my wife couldn't kiss me goodbye because we couldn't afford me getting sick and missing the interview. From where she died alone on a crowded emergency room apron because the police pulled their guns on our boy. With my little stowaway sitting quietly in the front seat, I turned down the side road, looking for the trees along the drainage slope. There's an opening in the trees you can barely see where the driveway begins with a small bridge over the creek. I almost missed it while looking for it the first time. which is why I call this place Hidden Farm and why it's worked so well for the last God knows how many weeks. I jump out to open the barn doors. After parking the truck inside, I jump out again to close them. When I turn around, my stowaway is already out. She looks so small standing next to the truck. I go to the side door and wait until she gets the idea she should come along too. We walk among the fat shocks of blonde grass in the yard to the rear of the house. I unlock the kitchen door and wave the woman inside before going in and locking the door behind us. All right, I say, before we settle in, there's something we need to do. I cross the kitchen into the living room and hook right to go up the stairs. I'm almost all the way up when I turn to see her paused at the bottom. Damn it, I'm not going to rape you. This is something we have to do every time we come back from somewhere. Her hand grips the rail and she half pulls herself up. Judging by the flaps of skin hanging from her upper arm, she was a person of size before the final flu remade the food chain. I have to wait for her once I get to the top. She may no longer be obese, but malnutrition hasn't helped her speed. All right, first off, just nod if you understand me. You notice how I'm talking? She nods. Indoor voices have to be way lower than what we used to consider indoor voices before. Just because we're off from the main road doesn't mean some former citizen ambling along the highway won't pick up on us. Sound carries, especially without traffic or humming power lines. We speak any louder than this and a ghoul who thinks he hears something will start coming this way. Another ghoul will notice that ghoul going off-road and follow. We can kill those first ones as they come up, but it won't be long before we're swarmed. Understand? She nods. I tread quietly into what used to be the daughter's room. She follows, and I hold my hand up to stop her. The gauzy curtain over the window stirs in the breeze. I walk around to the side of the window, almost whispering. We've got a good view across the fields here, but if you can see them, they can likely see you. She looks at me. Yes, I know, they're pretty much blind, I say, but like all predators, they key in on motion. I take an edge of the curtain and wave her over, extending my arm so she'll approach from the side. She's standing close by, her breathing still labored from climbing the stairs. All right, look, I say. See anything? She shakes her head no. I indicate US 24 beyond the trees. Every now and then you'll see groups going by in either direction. They'll keep to the road unless they have a reason not to. So far it looks clear. It's important to be sure, though. Understand? She nods. I walk out towards the master bedroom on the other end of the hall. By the time she arrives in the doorway, I'm looking out from behind the curtain on that side. There's another view of the highway here, the part that leads up a slight grade towards the Falcon area. You can just see it over the tops of the cottonwoods growing along the creek, screening the driveway from the road. She looks on from the doorway, hesitant to come in. It's obviously my room, and I appreciate her respecting that. I look back over the overgrown pasture and fields for anything parting the grasses. Nothing. My arm throbs. I wave her over from the door with my good arm and step past her into the hall. One last thing. If you're sleeping here tonight, this is where you'll be. She steps up to meet me by the bedroom door on the other side of the stairwell. It's a smaller room, apparently for the younger son. I know you were expecting the girl's room over there, but its window faces the open fields and the road beyond. Granted, the breeze doesn't come through as easily through here, but the sound of your snoring won't carry as far. Or the sound of your crying out from nightmares. God, I hope she's not one of those. I turn to go, but she nudges me. She looks towards the bathroom. You can use that. The people who used to live here augment the power to their well pump with a small solar panel. It only works during the day, so try and take care of all your business before dark. Her eyes are wide. Running water! If she thought she'd struck gold once we'd pulled in, she's died and gone to heaven now. Wait until she learns that the hot water heater also runs on solar. On second thought, I can't wait to tell her myself. Lord, she stinks. So I point to the girl's room where she can get clothes and explain the situation with the main bathroom, how she has to leave the window closed, etc. I'm going back downstairs. You can meet me there when you're done. Instead, she follows close behind me on the steps. As soon as we're downstairs, I see her looking around. "Over there," I say, indicating the downstairs bath. She moves quickly away and pulls the door closed behind her. Damn it all, if I didn't have her to deal with, I'd already be lying down with a book reading until dark. No such luck. I've got to bring out some more cans. Not that food is a problem. I hit every small grocery and convenience store I saw along the small farming villages on the back roads. The chrome tool cases behind the cab of the big yellow truck are packed to the rim with every kind of fish and chemically abused pig meat you can fit in a can. I've got a case of beef jerky and all the fruit cocktail and baked beans I can carry. I never miss a chance to grab a couple of tins of something when I'm out. Not that I go out that much, and all I got today was a bruised arm and a stowaway. "You need help with that?" The woman is watching me struggle with the can opener. "If you would, please," I say, wincing at the pain in my injured arm. Of course, this invites conversation. Damn it. "Do you have a name?" "No." "What if I need to call out to you? I mean, if there's something coming through the fields or something. You know." "In which case you will not call out. You will find me as soon as possible and say in your softest indoor voice, 'There's something coming through the fields.'" I take the bottle of single malt scotch from the cabinet above the stove. I brush up beside her at the sink as I grab a glass from the drain rack. "You know what I mean," she says, her eyes narrowing as she watches me pour the scotch. "Yes, I do. If you need something to call me Bierce." Like the name of the guy I've been reading for the past few days. He understood human nature better than most. "Pierce? Like that James Bond actor?" "Bierce, with a B. Brief, bitter, Bierce." "Oh, is that your first name or your last name?" "Neither. It's the name of a man who used to write books. You need a name to call me by, that's it." "Now that's just stupid." "Excuse me?" "I mean, what's with this being all dramatic and stuff? You have a name, just say it." "Everyone who knew me by my born name is gone. I will not dishonor their memory by giving it out to every chatty little stowaway who climbs into my truck." I think also of what Rebecca told me in Kansas when she cursed me with success from the other side of a 50 cal Desert Eagle. Dr. Hearn stopping me on the way out of town with his Black Ops Death Squad Chinook confirmed the nature of that curse. I don't know who this woman talks to, but no one needs to know Derek Grace is in the neighborhood. I down the glass and pour another before taking both bottle and glass to the table. The ache in my arm flares again, and I remember the freezer bags in my pockets. I find the one filled with Percocet. I count out 3 and chase them with the scotch. "Well, my mother loved me enough to name me Kim, so take that for—" "Oh, how many of those pills did you just take?" "The punch is all but worn off of these things. This time next year they'll be altogether useless." "But you're taking them with—" She looks panicked at the scotch. "It enhances what's left of the drug's effect and leaves me with a decent buzz besides. Which, by the way, I thank you for bringing up. Because if you have a problem with this or anything else you see me doing, you've got 2 options. That door," I say, indicating the kitchen door, "or the front door off the living room." "Pardon me for caring," she mutters. She brings my kippers on a plate with the fruit cocktail in a little bowl filling the space on one side of the plate. I normally eat right out the can. I'd ask if she's cleaning up, but there's enough friction here as it is. "Would you like anything else?" "Yes, Kim. A tall glass of water for me and one for yourself. By the way, we're eating all of those cans up there. You don't have to scrimp. Just don't eat so fast you get sick. What you puke up doesn't get replaced until breakfast." Kim turns and fills a couple of glasses. She brings my water to the table. I tuck into my dinner as she busies herself trying to get the cans open. I'm halfway into my fruit cocktail when I sense trouble. "Kim, stop." She's broken the pull tab from a long, flat can of kippers and looks like she'll go into meltdown. I rise from the table and put my hands on her arms. A little squeeze and her trembling stops. Standing behind her, my chin resting on her greasy, matted hair, my hands guiding her forearms down to the counter, I get her to put the kippers down. Quick as a lurking ghoul on the lunge, she turns and buries her face into my chest. At least she's not hugging me. Her fists are on either side of her head as if to protect it as she sobs into my shirt. I stand and let her hot, sour breath gust into my chest. After a reasonable amount of time, I put my hands on her arms. She looks up at me, her hands gathered beneath her chin. Her eyes are red-rimmed, yellow, and huge with anguish. Dear God, how did this poor doomed creature ever survive this long? She looks down, glances about where I'm holding her. Your arm, she says. I was grabbed today. Oh. It's a deep bruise. If the walker had hung on any longer, there would have been nerve damage. I'll be okay, though. It looks a lot worse than it is. Yes, she says, sounding like she might cry again. I need your help on something. Can you help me? Yes. I want to finish eating. I'm really hungry. Yes, she says. I'm sorry. Me too. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be calm. You're all calmed down now, right? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. I'll be good. That's what you said in the truck. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'll be good. All right, then. I turn her back around to the counter. I pick up the can opener. The can's shaped weird, but you can still open it with this. Okay, I'll be okay. I return to the kitchen table and pour myself another scotch. My arm aches holding the bottle. I consider taking another round of Percocet. I look at Kim over my glass. Now look, I say, I've got no problem with you eating as much as I do, but I don't want you wasting it. I'll eat slow, I promise. I'd rather not sit here at the table with her while she eats, but I have a feeling I'll only invite another crisis if I go into the living room. So I sit up and stare at the fading light through the kitchen window while she slurps and mms through her supper like a proper you-know-what. Ow, I'm actually stuffed, she says halfway through the second can. Your stomach has shrunk. It's a good thing. How much food do you have? Enough. Don't get used to it. I didn't mean... What I'm saying is, enjoy it while it lasts. In a couple of years, the canned fruit won't be any good, and there goes our vitamin C. It's going to be Scurvy City until we figure out how to start growing some stuff. Are you growing anything? Not here. I need to be where the dead people aren't. Where would that be? West of the interstate, up into the mountains proper. Oh, you can have this place when I go. When are you going? After my arm heals up. A couple of days, I'm thinking. You won't take me with you? Nothing personal, Kim, but I've been by myself for a while now. I'd prefer to keep it that way. I can be good for you. I look at her. I know it's been a rough start, she says. If you're going to be good for me, as you say, then you need to stay quiet and stay out of my way. Can you do that? Yes. So you're telling me you're done with meltdowns. I won't have to entertain you and find things for you to do. Is that right? Well, Pierce, you have your own particular way of doing things, so I'm going to have to ask you some questions. It's Bierce, and no, you're not. The rule, the particular way, is to be quiet. You're always mindful that there are former citizens walking up and down that highway listening for their dinner. You're not much of a people person, are you? I laugh. The only real people persons left are the dead. They sure like people, don't they? Yum, yum, eat 'em up. That's just mean. We brought it on ourselves, Kim. Finally, the human race is the next best thing to extinct, and I can't say I mind it. You know you don't mean that. If people come together, they could take it all back. You'd think so. We could hunt the smelly yellow and green people eaters to extinction like we've done so much else. People need motivation, though. The woolly mammoth, saber-toothed tiger, all those had value as food or skins. All you get from killing walkers is a toxic pile of rot. People would rather scurry around like rodents from trash pile to trash pile than to... I shake my head. I might as well be speaking in tongues. I top off my glass, hoping the alcohol will dull my stinging nerves. You're really angry, aren't you? True, I could do without all these funeral home rejects stumbling around looking to bite my ass off. I look at the woman across the table from me, and I'm almost startled sober by the realization. You're the first survivor I've seen since I got back to Colorado. My God, I suppose they're all gone. Kim looks down abruptly like someone smacked her on top of her head. Oh, crap. You left the group behind, didn't you? She can't meet my eyes. They were starving. Everyone sees you all brave and playing like it's some crazy kung fu movie, just coming and going as you please. And no one steps out to introduce themselves. There's always those people around. What people? You mean the yellow ones or the green ones? The gray or the off-white and bluish tinged ones? Let's hear it for diversity. In zombie apocalypse, the rainbow tastes you. You think this is all so funny, don't you? Keep it down. If you've already forgotten our safety brief upstairs, then I'd say you're the one not taking things seriously. Her face is still blindly defiant. Fine. This is just a distraction from the real issue anyway. So no one came out to say hi because they're afraid of the crazy dead people. I take it you weren't. She gets up from the table, takes my plate with hers to the sink. She runs the water. I let some time pass before I get up. I'm going upstairs. Help yourself to what's in the pantry. The lady of the house also had some magazines if you want to lose yourself in those. I think about warning her one more time to leave me alone, but decide against it. She'll be telling me her story soon enough whether I want to hear it or not. And I don't. We've all got them and they're all depressing as hell.